Spider-Man 2099 is one of the best versions of Spider-Man to ever hit the pages of a comic, and we're gonna tell you why.
Yeah. They hate when you elevate.
What's up, my comic comrades? With Spider-Man 2099 being a central part of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, we're here to give you guys an updated look at the character's comic book roots. I say updated because we did a full-on history of Spider-Man 2099 back in 2017. But that was 6 years ago, so today we're gonna run through the character's foundations as a refresher of sorts. Alright, Spider-Man 2099 was created by Peter David and Rick Leonardi and first appeared in the Amazing Spider-Man 365 in August of 1992 as a preview before getting his first full appearance in Spider-Man 2099 1 in November of 92. The man who would become Spider-Man 2099 is Miguel O'Hara. He's half Mexican and half Irish, and for those of you who are good with dates, you may have already realized that means Miguel O'Hara beats out Miles Morales as the first Hispanic Spider-Man. Just a little fun fact for your trivia bucket. In any case, Miguel O'Hara hails from Earth 928 in the year 2099 and was the head of a genetics department for the Alchemax Corporation. He was a brilliant scientist who specialized in genetic splicing and always toyed with the idea of recreating the original Peter Parker Spider-Man. But his plans took an unexpected turn. Enter Tyler Stone, Miguel's boss, who was the definition of a terrible boss. To keep his employees under control, Stone would secretly get them addicted to a highly addictive drug called Rapture, and Miguel was no exception. However, Miguel was determined to find a cure for his addiction, and so he attempted to rewrite his genetic code to eliminate his body's dependence on the drug. Unfortunately, his co-worker Aaron Delgado sabotaged his experiment to prevent him from succeeding, causing a catastrophic explosion. Aaron was the person on the job that would do whatever he needed to do to get promoted. Every job has one of these people. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, Miguel survived the explosion, and when that douche Aaron started to threaten him, he realized that Miguel emerged from the explosion with some new features, including white eyes, fangs, and claws. Needless to say, whiny Aaron nearly crapped his pants when he saw Miguel's transformation and decided to reach for his gun. He immediately started shooting at Miguel, who managed to dodge the bullets with his newfound agility. Miguel tries to calm Aaron down, screaming for him to stop shooting, but he keeps firing and eventually hits a highly explosive container, causing an explosion that destroys the entire top floor of the building and sending Aaron to meet his maker, despite Miguel's efforts to save him. Miguel's survival didn't come without a price, though. Mr. Stone held Miguel responsible for destroying the equipment and unleashed a cyborg bounty hunter named Venture to capture him. So Miguel donned a costume he had made for the Day of the Dead celebration using unstable molecule fabric that was virtually untearable, which was the writer's clever way of explaining to us why his costume is so resilient and why he even had a costume already made in the first place. After this, he also attached a torn piece of glider cloth to the costume in order to escape Alchemax security. Miguel would then go on to defeat the bounty hunter Venture and embrace his role as Spider-Man of the future, making it his mission to bring down the corrupt Alchemax Corporation, protect the innocent, and fight for justice in the year 2099. Not a bad mission statement if you ask me. But that's the quick summary of Spider-Man 2099's origin story, but let's take a brief look at some of his rogues gallery in case one or more of them appear in the Across the Spider-Verse movie. First, we have Goblin 2099, the futuristic version of the Green Goblin who possesses even more advanced technology. After that, you have Cannibal, who is essentially the future version of Vulture and a darker take on the character. You then have Flipside, who can mimic both Spider-Man and Venom's powers, and Venom 2099 himself, who is one of the coolest villains in the 2099 universe. Lastly, one of the most significant villains for Spider-Man 2099, especially in relation to the Spider-Verse, is Morlun and the Inheritors. While they're not villains from the year 2099, they were the big bads in the Spider-Verse story and one of the most formidable enemies Miguel has ever faced. And honestly, we would not be surprised at all to see them emerge in the new movie. As for Spider-Man 2099's power set, he possesses unique powers and abilities that set him apart from the original Peter Parker Spider-Man of Earth 616. For instance, he uses organic webbing that's made with spinnerets. But one of the key differences lies in Miguel's enhanced strength and agility. As a result of a genetic experiment, Miguel possesses greater physical capabilities than Peter Parker, allowing him to perform incredible feats of acrobatics, lift heavy objects, and engage in combat with superhuman opponents. His enhanced reflexes and agility also make him a formidable fighter, enabling him to dodge attacks and maneuver really quickly in battle. Another significant difference is Spider-Man 2099's ability to cling to surfaces with talons on his fingertips and toes. Unlike the traditional web-slinging abilities of Peter Parker, Miguel relies on these talons to stick to walls and ceilings, granting him greater freedom of movement and the ability to navigate vertical environments easily. This unique attribute is also one of the things that give him a distinct visual appearance, with his costume featuring sharp talons on the hands and feet. Spider-Man 2099 possesses a built-in camouflage system called active invisibility as well, an advanced technology that allows him to blend seamlessly into his surroundings, rendering him nearly invisible to the naked eye. This stealth capability gives him a significant advantage when it comes to surprise attacks and covert operations, which is a big change from Peter Parker's more conventional approach to crime fighting. And last but not least, this dope alternate version of Spider-Man has poisonous fangs similar to that of venomous spiders. In fact, his poisonous fangs have been shown to paralyze people and are even effective on metahumans like Namor the Submariner. That is no joke. However, one thing Miguel does not have is a SpiderSense like Peter Parker, which is no small thing. Regardless, his unique powers and abilities make Spider-Man 2099 a distinct and formidable iteration of the web-slinger. For those of you looking to jump on Spider-Man 2099 reading for the first time, we recommend you start with Spider-Man 2099 Volume 1, Out of Time, by Peter David and Will Sliney. This is the perfect starting point to see Miguel O'Hara battle futuristic villains and navigate the complex world of 2099 as Spider-Man 2099. It also does a great job of setting the stage for future stories. From there, you could jump right into Spider-Man 2099 Volume 2 Spider-Verse, also by Peter David. This story is particularly relevant because Miguel O'Hara joins forces with other Spider-Men from across the multiverse to take on the villain Morlun and his family of inheritors. And lastly, check out Spider-Man 2099 Volume 3 Smack the Future, once again by Peter David and Will Sliney. In this volume, Miguel goes time traveling and comes face to face with his own future. It's a really fun story that has a bit of a Flashpoint edge to it. But those are definitely enough to get you guys started, so let us know what your favorite Spider-Man 2099 story is down in the comments. Did you know that Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man's parents, Richard and Mary Parker, were agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? That's right, they worked right under Nick Fury, and we find all of this out in Untold Tales of Spider-Man issue -1. In the issue, we learn that Richard Parker was originally in the Army Special Forces. He eventually caught the eye of Colonel Nick Fury, who tapped him to be part of S.H.I.E.L.D. Fury literally shakes his hand as Richard is coming off a plane, saying to him, "You're pretty hot stuff, soldier. How would you like to really serve your country?" We then get narration from Richard saying, "I'm glad I accepted Fury's offer. I've seen more action as a covert operative than I did in the Army. And if I hadn't joined the agency, I never would have met Mary Fitzpatrick, the prettiest translator ever to grace the halls of Langley." The trouble is, Mary was never satisfied with a desk job. She always wanted to go into the field. I never should have given her that first opportunity. If anything ever happened to her, it would be my fault. We are then given Mary's side of things as we see a young Mary being raised solely by her father while they're riding horses, as she says, Wild Will Fitzpatrick. That's what they called him in the OSS, and from all the stories, I guess he was a bit of a bounder. But I never saw that side of him. Mother died so young and he was the only parent I really knew. If he had been wealthier, he would have spoiled me terribly. As it was, he saw to it that I went to the finest schools. When the news came that day that he died, I thought my life would end. And in a way, I suppose it did. He hadn't left me much in the way of money, but between my schooling and the connections I had with his old cronies, I was able to start a new life as a translator and a data analyst for the agency. A new exciting life after I met Richard. If not for him, I doubt that I ever would have gotten any real field work. It was dangerous, deadly work. But I loved it almost as much as I loved Richard, as we see the two of them get married with Richard's older brother, Ben Parker, and his wife, May Parker, attending. As Mary says, "Our wedding still seems like such a dream. I wish Daddy could have been here," giving us the origin of how Peter Parker's parents met, fell in love, and got married. We also learn in this story that during one of Richard and Mary's missions overseas, they saved Wolverine. Yeah, how nuts is that? Spider-Man's parents once literally freed and saved Wolverine. Then by the end of the issue, Richard and Mary learned that Mary is pregnant with their child, aka Peter Parker. Now, a few years after Peter's birth, his parents were killed in a plane crash orchestrated by the Red Skull because they had messed with some of his previous plans. But there you have it, guys, the reason for Peter Parker's parents' death and the revelation that they were actually agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And now it's your turn. Let us know your thoughts about everything and anything in today's episode down in the comments. And we'll see you next time when we talk some Cyborg Spider-Man.